bad read, you know what I mean? There was one other one on the day, but when you can throw the ball the number of times he threw it today, and I wanted to see, could I put the ball in his hands? I only have 2 running backs, and I wasn't looking to beat them up today and just see them carry the ball 100 times. I wanted to see the quarterbacks execute, and I think Ryan's got a great grasp of the offense, and the game's really slowed down, and he's making some really good decisions with the ball out there.
What did you think of the running backs? I know you said you weren't going to have them run a lot, but they caught the ball a lot.
Yeah, they did.
And KD did that a lot last year. So how did you like that aspect of the offense with them catching the ball?
I think they're doing a really good job. When you look on the spring, they've caught the ball at over 90%. They're catching the ball really well, and all of a sudden they become checkdowns for your quarterbacks. The easy opportunities to get rid of the ball, eliminate sacks. They catch the ball very well, and you get those guys the ball in open space. I mean, but I think both of them really did a nice job today. I think it's unfortunate that Jaquise Dancy got dinged and wasn't able to go today, because he could have used every one of these reps, you know, both last week and this week. But I think Boston Scott and Jared Kraft are doing some really good things. They broke some tackles today. They ran north-south, and they ran hard.
You look at your receivers, two young guys in Alfred Smith and Cam McKnight really stood out.
Yeah, Alfred and Cam both are doing some good things. And again, I wasn't trying to feature Trent Taylor. I've got 99 catches a year ago of him on film and doing what he does. But I think having those 2 guys step up, I mean, you know, it was great to see Alfred make that play at the end on the deep ball where he went up for it. But I think both those guys are doing a good job. I would have liked to seen, you know, Bonnet and Woodard continue to make those strides forward, but we still have too many busts out there at wide receiver. But I think some guys are really starting to separate themselves, as I said at the beginning, and starting to really identify that 2 deep and what that depth chart's starting to look like.
You mentioned Trent Taylor, knowing what he has obviously going for him, and you don't need to see it today. How valuable is that for you guys as a staff to know that next year you've got that kind of a talent?
Yeah, it's great to know. And as I'm calling plays out here, I'm trying to highlight guys I want to get the ball to. I want to trying to get the ball to some people in the open field, and so that's what I'm trying to evaluate. And so we know what Trent can do. And I mean, Trent has been a leader. He's been a leader of this offense. He's been a leader of this team, and he's definitely one of the better football players on the field. I know he's a competitor. Trent's probably disappointed he didn't have 10 catches or opportunities today, but I didn't need to see that out of him today. I needed to see some of those younger guys, and I got a good look at what we were trying to get done in the spring. But Trent's invaluable to this team right now and what we're trying to do and how we're building it.
Jay Ferguson is still unblockable. Is it one of those things, whenever you see something like that you wonder, is it my offensive line? Is it him being really good? Is it just $1 million question?
It's a little of both. I mean, like I said, as a head coach, I get mixed emotions. I love to see, when I look at it as offensive coach, I love to see Tarzan go up and catch that ball over there on the sideline. But as a head coach, I would have loved to see Jarrell Jackson go up and knock it down. You know, I mean, so it's always, there's a good and a bad with everything. Same thing in the pass rushing duties. Jalen Ferguson definitely made an impact. I mean, he made his presence felt, which means, you know, I don't know if he's that good, but we're going to go against other good players, and are we good enough to tackle to be able to block a really good player? And those are the questions that we got to ask, and that's why it's a great growing part for our program, because you know what, he's going to make Shane Carpenter a better player, or Shane Carpenter's not going to play, you know, I mean, so he's going to make him a better player, and as Shane gets better, then Jalen's going to have to continue to improve.
Does the same go for the rest of the line? Because I think you had 8 sacks total. Is that more of you're impressed with the line, or maybe not so impressed with the way the offensive line was blocking?
No, I thought there was a couple that were on the offensive line. I thought there were a couple on the quarterbacks. They could have got rid of the ball, and I think there's some guys out there maybe that aren't going to play for us, you know what I mean, that aren't ready yet, that aren't game ready. So, no, I didn't think overall I was really disappointed, because I thought our 1-0 line did a pretty good job, you know what I mean. I thought our 1-0 line did a pretty good job today. So I don't think it was necessarily surrounded around just the O-line or D-line, again, as much as it is the individuals.
You look at your punting, not a single punter averaged over 40 yards.
I thought the punting was poor. You know, it's unfortunate. I think Gerald Chouse is far and away the better punter. I think he's proven that as a walk-on that has earned a scholarship. Was disappointed today that we didn't punt the ball better because he's punted the ball much better in the spring, but amazing when you put a couple people in the stands the way it affects 18 to 22-year-olds' performance. But definitely he's got the strongest leg and had the best numbers and did the best job over the last 3 years of punting, and he's our starting punter right now. I don't think that's close. I just wish we would have punted the ball a little bit better today.
You mentioned the running backs. You saw some nice plays in the passing game from them today. And I guess, obviously, when you're replacing a guy like Kenneth Dixon, is there a level of concern or confidence going into the season knowing it's going to be maybe more running back by committee?
It'll be by committee, and I think all three of those guys will play. But, you lose a player, I don't worry as much about what we lost as I worry about who's ready to step in and replace them. We lost two of the most productive players we've had here in Jeff Driscoll and Kenneth Dixon, what they've done. But yet, having guys like Boston Scott, who rushed for 100 yards in the bowl game, having Jared Kraft, who's played for 2 years, having a talent like Jaquise Dancy, having a senior like Ryan Higgins playing where he is with the control of it, I'm not worried about what we lost. I'm worried about what we have coming back. Then I look over at the linebacker position where we lose a Bo Feet and a Nick Thomason and a C.J. Cleveland, and I feel good with the way right now that we've got a couple of those guys that are playing, but we also got a lot of young guys that have never played, and we're not playing to that level yet. And I'm a little more concerned at some positions with what we have coming back. Everybody wants to talk about what walked out the door. This spring was about what's coming back and what level are we playing at right now. And I think from what I've seen, our quarterbacks and our running backs will be fine. You know what I mean? I feel good about that. There's some other positions I'm a little more concerned about.
Two more questions.
What did you think about the young linebackers? The second team, I believe Dante and Colin both had like 5 or 6 tackles. But what did you think of just overall, like the guys other than like Lloyd Grogan and Ferris?
Yeah, I think Grogan and some of those guys are playing well, and Grogan and Ferris are the two that have played. I think we're not as consistent as we need to be at linebacker right now. We got out of a gap one time there on a 4th and short, I think it was, and split through it. We just got out of a gap. Those are the little consistent things we need to continue to build on. Not worried about are they big enough, tall enough, fast enough, strong enough, or physical enough. I think they are. Not as consistent as we need to be, and we need to keep getting better there.
For you personally, this is a little off topic, but while I have you, to see Vernon get an invite to the NFL draft, for you, how exciting is that for a coach?
It's awesome. I mean, it's really neat. I wish I could go with them. Unfortunately, I've got a commitment and a fundraiser that weekend that I had already committed to. But what a great opportunity for him, for as hard as he's worked and for what he's done and the way that he's represented Louisiana Tech, to give him the opportunity to go experience draft day in Chicago and be on that stage and have his name called. That's a once-in-a-lifetime memory. That's a pretty incredible experience, and we're proud of him, but we're really happy for him as well.
All right.